Welcome to the Small Business Breakthrough Podcast, where each week we're interviewing guests that are small business owners themselves that are supporting small business owners. A lot of my listeners out there have run into this problem, and you realize that once you're a small business owner, and the internet finds out that you're a small business owner, you get a barrage of emails, and it all looks like bots. It all looks like this fake stuff coming off, and we can see it a mile away. Well, we have found the guy that's solving for this. He has been able to come up with a solution that helps you create engaging and active lead scripts that give your cold email or social media outreach campaigns a whole new look and doesn't make it look fake. So I'd love to welcome Craig Kelly, founder of LeadScripts, to the Small Business Breakthrough Podcast. Craig, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks, Jason.
Give us a quick introduction to your business and the problems you're solving.
Yeah, so LeadScripts is an AI sales and marketing software, and we ask you a couple questions about your product or service, and then we're going to generate over 80 plus details about that. And then with that, we're going to help you. We're actually going to generate your customer persona, the dreams, the desires, the pains, the fears, the location, and all that. And from there, you're going to get all your marketing scripts, your sales scripts, your emails, your ads, your social posts, your articles for your blog, and all that stuff. And the thing that is important about it is that it's not just like a chat GPT hallucinating about things or being totally general and spitting out the same stuff for everybody. It's your product. It's your customer avatar pains and fears, their dreams, their desires, and then it's pointing them to you as a solution. And you don't need to be a salesperson. You don't need to be a copywriter. And you don't have to be a marketer, because it has over 20 plus years of marketing and sales experience and copywriting experience built right into it.
Craig, that is amazing.
I might have gone I get a little excited about it because that's the unique selling point of LeadScripts, is that it's not just like a cookie cutter approach for everybody. It's custom to your details, your product, your service. So
yeah, it's always interesting to hear from these business owners that I talk to, and you especially, like, what led you into deciding to go down this path in 2020?
Yeah, that's a great question. Like it's not my first rodeo as far as businesses go. I've had other businesses, and you're always doing the same thing. Like, basically for marketing, you're going to be sending emails, and that's very important. You're going to be creating ads. You're going to be creating content for your website. You need social posts, like all these things. You're going to have customer interaction. If somebody's sends you some terrible support ticket, like, you don't really want to just reply to them. You want to respond, and that's what's nice. You throw it in LeadScripts, it's like that's a very nice, friendly way to say something back. But what led me to it is that I got tired of doing the same thing and using other people's software, that I just get stuck. Basically, I built it so that I wouldn't be getting stuck all the time, because I used funnel scripts before. I mean, I spent hundreds, probably over $1,000 on that. And what happens is I'm filling out the forms and I can't even answer the questions. I'm like, what are you asking me for here? It just drove me insane. I would spend hours in hope that I'd be getting, that would make my life easier. And I never got any copy from it. It made me want to throw my computer. So I'm like, I know how to build applications, and I know this stuff. I just needed a simplified approach. So I'm like, that's why I created LeadScripts, so that it would do that for me. And like I said, it uses your product or your service, and we'll build out over 80 plus details about that most people don't even think about. And then obviously the customer persona is very important. You got to know who you're selling to, because if you're just throwing it out there, you need to niche it down to their pains, their fears. Give me a quick example. Sorry, I'm gonna go off tangent just a little bit. Like, say you're a golfer who wants to stop slicing the ball, and I just happen to have a product that's the anti-slice practice club. I'm going to put you in there, a golfer who wants to stop slicing the ball, and I'm going to get all your pains, your fears, your dreams, your desires, where you're located, and then I'm going to focus on them. And like right off the top of my head, since I'm pretty passionate about golf too, is like it'd be like, okay, you're tired of being embarrassed off the first tee. You don't want to be lose to your friends, like a dreamer desires like, hey, I want to beat my buddies on the weekend, I want to win a local tournament, something like that. So you focus on those things, and then you cut all the copy comes right back to like, well, here's the solution. The solution is my anti-slice practice club. When you use this, blah 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 blah. But you see how it's personal. Like you get leads, then you have to nurture them, and you're nurturing them, you're creating trust with them, and you're teaching them. So, and that's when somebody trusts you, they want to get their wallet out and give you money because you're helping them, and they know they can trust you, and you're going to help solve their problem. So,
And I know a lot of small business owners out there that struggle every day, including myself, with being able to figure out what to say to be able to start the conversation.
that's
And that's
right.
essentially what you're doing. You have this
Yeah,
amazing software that is able
yeah,
to, you put the information in and it spits out that initial conversation, get the conversation rolling. From
right.
there, the business owner continues to build trust and move forward. This is a super exciting um, feature set for a software that we've got that you have here. So what has been some of your keys to like you're growing your business, you're doing a lot of stuff online.
Mm-hmm.
And what has been the keys to your success? And you can even talk about some of the past businesses that you've been involved with. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what has led you to the success point that you're at today?
Well, I mean, the thing you got to realize is that like not everything you do is going to give you a monetary positive result. I spent 7+ years working on a Twitter application, analytics, statistics, all these things, and automation for posting to Twitter. Yeah, just spent like 7+ years. Long story short, nobody cared about it, and like part of me like kind of makes me angry that I wasted my time, but you got to realize that your time and what you put into it's not always going to return money. But I've learned so much from like when we built that is that you know it's just made building other applications so much faster because we you had that experience. Plus, you learn to put something out there faster and get feedback faster. Like don't spend like all this time building something, think, oh, maybe I just need to tweak it and then it will hit, somebody will like it or whatever. You got to put a minimum viable product out there and get feedback as quickly as possible because you might just be wasting your time. But I mean, I don't really, as far as like learning to get me where I'm at now, it's just like I realize that you know you just have to do a little bit every day. It doesn't like most people quit, and and every time you quit, like every time you feel like quitting, just realize that like literally 8 out of 10 people that are on that same level with you just quit. And then next time you feel like quitting, like, look, 8 out of 10 of those people just quit. People quit. It's easy. It's comfortable. But if you keep going, that's when you're gonna before you know it, you're like, wow, I can't believe like how much we built this, how many people we've served, and just how we got to this point. It's just like you don't eat an elephant, at one sitting. It's one bite at a time.
Yeah, correct.
If you're
That
eating elephants, I never have, but
me neither, but that's at least the saying how the saying goes, right? How do
yeah,
you eat
yeah,
one
yeah,
elephant? One bite. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You
yeah,
were talking a
yeah.
little bit in there about feedback, and I know a lot of business
Mhm.
owners struggle with, and they're nervous. They like they
Yeah,
don't want to ask for feedback, and I'm sure
yeah.
you. And it sounds like you were at the beginning too. How did you work through being able to get feedback faster and being able to accept it? How did you build that muscle?
Oh my word, it's so it's really game changing. Before this is a thing you really have to do, especially like it's hard. Like when you first the more you do it, the easier it gets, just because like when you're first like building a business or building an application, it's very personal to you. It's just like you feel like it's your baby. If somebody says anything about it, you're like offended, like no, like you just don't want to do anything wrong, and I understand that you're trying to build something, you just want encouragement. But as like LeadScripts, since I've gotten to building LeadScripts, it's become such a I would say non-emotional. Like it does get me excited. I love helping people. I love when people are using it and having success with it. Um, but I just I don't get emotionally attached to positive and negative feedback that much, because you're always going to get negative feedback. That's easy. That's easy. The thing is there something here they're telling me that I could do or change to make it better? Are you getting multiple? I'd never change it just based on one thing, but like, are you hearing the same thing from multiple people? Um, One of the things with the LeadScripts is that we got so much feedback, and instead of resisting that and saying no, that's not my direction, which you definitely have to consider that, is this going to fit into where we want to go? Um, but getting all that feedback and being agile and be updating it quickly, so that you just keep user feedback's everything. I just can't I can't say enough about it, because when people are giving you feedback, which is the hardest thing to get from people, you got to listen, because they're telling you exactly what you need to do. And the hardest thing is when you don't know what to do, you don't know what to change, you don't know what's going to make it better for somebody, or you don't know how you're going to be able to solve their problem. um, so yeah, any feedback is great. Again, most of the time it's negative. So you just have to be non-emotional about it and think, is this something legit or not,
Yeah, it's so easy to get stuck in there, but listeners, make sure you pay attention here, because even though the negative feedback that's coming in, remember that's them. That's
Mm-hmm.
their problems. That negativity
Mm-hmm.
is coming out of their lives. It's not against you. You just happen to be there. Look
Yeah.
for the through line. Look for that nugget that they're trying to tell you. And
Yeah.
commonalities is a big, big important
Yeah.
part
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah.
If you've ever opened your laptop ready to grow your business and 2 hours later closed it, realizing you've gotten nothing done, but you've researched office chairs, you've ordered lunch, and you've planned out the next 3 dinners, all the things that you wouldn't typically do to work on your business. Yeah, I've done that too. I'm Jason Pond. I'm the host of the Small Business Breakthrough Podcast, and I want you to achieve your breakthrough. But we do that through the community I built. I built the Momentum Community. The Momentum Community is a place where we meet every week. We talk about your goals, where you want to get with your business, and then we track them. And we use the Momentum dashboard to do that. We make sure you're moving forward every week, and it's accountability like you've never seen in a community forum. I want you to be part of that community. If you want to learn more about it, check out the link in the description below and enjoy the rest of the episode. Wow, that has been so awesome. You are in a different situation of some of my previous guests on here, where we've talked about how AI is changing the world. You actually built something with AI. So when you're thinking about that, like what does the next 5 years look like? How much have you seen it come up in progress? And then where is it going?
Yeah. I mean, and this is a thing, like when LeadScripts first started, there was no AI in it. And I was kind of resistant to it. And then I saw how it could benefit it. It wasn't like starting with AI, you know, just like create this using AI. It's like, no, we started with the foundation already set, and then we enhanced it with AI, which is great because you're using it as a tool. And going forward, everybody thinks, I don't say everybody, but like I think a lot of people look at it like AI is the end all be all. And it's not. And it shouldn't be. And you should never think that. People think it's going to take everybody's job. It's not. The internet didn't take everybody's job. The computers didn't take anybody's job. It just created massive amounts of job and opportunity. So you really got to look at it like that. It's an opportunity. In the next 5 years, I see as a trend personally, I see that people are going to become much more savvy on what's generated from AI, and which means it's even more important to be able to like not be detected by AI bots, because like, well, for LeadScripts, one of our users went through, he created some articles and he took them through like I think 5 different AI detectors, and he's like, out of all that, like maybe one of them thought it was AI, the rest of them didn't. And I'm like, that right there, that made my day. I love hearing those comments because that means we're doing our job. So like in 5 years from now, if you're just thinking you're going to throw something, ask chat GBT to do something for you and just use it, well, you're just wasting your time, because it's all about relationships with people. And, you know, AI can only go so far with that. And if you don't have something behind it, like actually asking it and doing it, just like using it the way it should be, then like I say, you're wasting your time. So it's going to become more and more critical as we go forward with, in the future, for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. That's a big part of it is what tool, use it as a tool to augment and benefit, but don't rely on it as the dominating source. You have to be able to
Right.
make adjustments and
Right.
look at it and,
Yep.
use it for inspiration if you're saying copy, or if you're stuck looking at a blank piece of paper, those things, those type of
Yep.
things. Craig, it's been a fantastic conversation to get to know more about how LeadScripts is leading the way in the cold outreach side of the world. How about we jump into a little bit of our lightning round?
All right. I don't know how good I'll be at this, but yeah, let's go.
Well, the idea is that you can respond faster than AI, so hopefully, if the questions aren't too hard, so we'll go
Yeah.
with it. But it's the simple questions to start: coffee or tea,
Oh, easy. Coffee.
cats or dogs.
Well, I have to say dogs.
If you could grab only one weapon or item during a zombie apocalypse, what would it be?
Probably my 7 iron.
Seven golfer. Yep, there we go. There's the golfer coming through. Favorite?
Yeah.
How about a favorite quote or phrase that you think about often?
Favorite quote or favorite. Well, I'm. I mean, I'm a. I hate to say spiritual, but I mean, I'm a Christian. I'm not apologizing for that. But Colossians 3:23 says, "Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as if working for the Lord, not for men." And so that's how I live my life. I'm going to give 100%, regardless if somebody's going to appreciate it or not. So that's first thing that pops into my head. And some other quote is aim small, miss small. That's from the Patriot
Yeah.
with Mel
Yep.
Gibson. So
Yes, though both fantastic references in there. Aim small, miss small, and Colossians 3:23 is fantastic. How about one book that has influenced your life the most?
well, definitely the Bible. Everybody, it all comes back to the Bible. People say stuff all the time, every day, and this just all these revelations. And I'm like, the root of that is from the Bible. I wish people would just read it. You don't have to do anything, be judged or anything. Just read it. You might be surprised. You
Uh,
might be surprised. So
Absolutely. I agree with that. I spent the all of last year reading. It was my whole goal was the Bible in a year. And
that's a major accomplishment.
it
That's a lot of reading.
it's yeah, I followed a plan and it was every night. I got it done 4 days early. A little bit of an overachiever, what can I say? But the managed to get through it. And now I spend every day at least in some sort of scripture on a
Yeah.
daily basis. But
You're so excited to get to the New Testament.
yeah, there, well,
I was.
yeah, there's definitely the nice thing about following a plan was is it put you into different books at the same time. So you were
Oh
like
yeah, yeah. Okay.
you didn't have to follow from page one and then
Okay.
try to go all the way through it. So it was a little
Right.
bit easier to digest,
Yeah, yeah.
and not quite as like yeah, world like what in the world are we talking about? But
Yeah.
what's the biggest obstacle that you've had to overcome and one lesson that you've learned from it?
The biggest obstacle for me was putting in a ton of work and not feeling like you're wasting your time, and again, it comes back to how, that was a condition of my heart, and how I needed to change myself, like, why am I doing this? Like, most of the time people start out, they're starting with, they want money, that's like the carrot at the end, and that's a great, that's not a bad thing, you should get paid for what you do.
Mhm.
But it's just, you're not always going to get it, so if you're not going to get it, then how can you get value out of what you're doing, every day in every task? So staying, let's say, enjoying the journey while you're on it, not just thinking about the end of it, is probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so much power in that statement about talking through how yeah, getting paid for it is great, but unless you are in service of others, like, what are you doing to be in service of others is really the end all of it. And you're right. Enjoying the journey is a fantastic pathway through it. Craig, the conversation has been fantastic. Absolutely love what you're doing. Where can our listeners collaborate with you or find out more about LeadScripts?
The easiest thing is just to go to leadscripts.co, and check it out. You can get there. I mean, this is the thing. If you want to go from 0 to 300 people on your email list, or 1,000 to 10,000, that's the starting point. Get into LeadScripts, create a lead magnet funnel, start capturing leads. We had a person who, they didn't have anybody on their list. They started fresh. They spent a bunch of money on Facebook ads, and they got one sign up. It was her mother. She signed up for LeadScripts, literally put her information in LeadScripts, copied the scripts, put it back in her ad, and she had 360 or 87 new signups within 3 weeks. Like, if you're talking about $1 per person per month on your email list, that's basically what you should be averaging as far as income. Like, that's a great start, so that, go to leadscripts.co, and that's how you can get started doing that.
That is fantastic. Leadscripts.co, everybody. That information will be linked in the show notes of the podcast. And if you're watching this on YouTube, it will be in the description. And check it, Craig, out and what he's doing over there. It's, especially if you're struggling with getting that cold email outreach, you just don't know how to do it or where to go. This looks like a great opportunity. I know I'll be checking it out here just as soon as we get off of this call. And so as we wrap it up here, Craig, it has been such a fantastic conversation. Love to get to hear more about you and how it is going. And I know our listeners have benefited from it for sure, because it is a huge pain point in the small business community. Listeners out there, until next time.